we'd like to define a new function that will be available to each number, and this function will execute a callback, the number of times equivalent to the value of the current number. So it will be like calling some callback several times. Let's just create a script called times.js. And in order to define a new function that will be available to all numbers, we will define this on the prototype of the number. So let's call the method times. It will be a function which will receive a callback and will execute the callback the number of times equals to the value of the number. It's something like this. Let's just define a constant number. Let's then create a number of 5. And I like to be able to call n dot times to execute some code. So this will be the function that will be executed 5 times. So in order to do this, I will then just iterate with a for n. And to be able to access the value of the number, this will be the calling instance of the times method, which is the n value. But the value of the number, it's not this, but it's the value of. So I need to call the method value of in order to get the value of the current number. What I do, I just call the callback this number of times. So with this, I then can, let's say I like to compute the factorial value and define a value of factorial that will be equals 1. And let's just define an I, which will be first 1. And in here, I will just say something like factorial equals factorial multiplied by I plus plus. And in the end, I will then display with the console log, I will display the factorial. So when I run this as a node application, I then see the value. But I can also, for instance, just do n times, and in here I can display with the console log a value that could be a simple text like hello world, come on. Okay, and when I call this, I see that this is outputting 5 times the same string. I can even output a different value each time, like for instance, I can call the math random and generate a random number, and I see different values that are outputted for each I in the range 0 to exclusively my value. So this is the way we can attach new functions on existing objects by attaching to the prototype of the function that was used to create the object, so that each instance will be able to access the new property defined on the prototype of the function that was used to create that instance.